Missing Japanese citizens. One night in June 1978, a 22-year-old single mother of 2 kids named Yaiko Taguchi was working her usual shift in Tokyo, Japan's Cabaret Hollywood. After finishing her shift right
at okay, Miss Larry Hoover. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. This said I'll be watching Chicago docs and then Miss Larry Hoover follows me. That's actually crazy. Yo, W follow though. Yo, Miss Larry Hoover is insane comedy.
Midnight, Yaiko left the cabaret to the front door and was never seen again. At first, nobody thought that anything serious had happened to Yaiko. In fact, several years later, her manager was questioned, and he claims that everyone thought she had quit when she failed to show up. At around that time, there had been rumors going around that several North Korean spies—
So no one mentioned that she was missing for multiple years? No one finds that odd?
—were working undercover in Japan looking to abduct innocent citizens and hold them as hostages back in North Korea. However, this was seen by the Japanese government as nothing more than a conspiracy theory that couldn't possibly be true.
Oh, that's nuts,
Sadly,
bro.
The missing case of Yaiko— and it wasn't until almost a decade later that a clue to her whereabouts emerged following a disturbing—
Yeah, Chicago docs is crazy. Yo, Kenny Will King, appreciate you with the follow.
November 1987, as South Korea was preparing to host the Olympics in the capital city of Seoul, a Korean Airlines plane blew up in mid-air as it was flying over the Andaman Sea, taking the lives of 115 innocent people. During the investigation, it was revealed that 2 North Korean agents acting under direct orders from the North Korean government had planted a bomb in an overhead storage compartment before getting off at the first layover in
Yo, really be doing crazy shit, bro. Really be doing OD crazy shit, bro. Like, what? Wow. Bro, I wonder who was the first, obviously, animals, they be having, I don't know if y'all know, but apes and monkeys, they dead at bro, chimpanzees know how to strategize and coordinate war efforts, bro. Dead ass. I'm not even trolling. Look it up, bro. Look it up, bro. My auntie been missing from South Chicago since 95. Gang, how do I tell you she's cooked? Sorry. I keep it told though. Hopefully they find her though. Hopefully she not cooked she not, you know what I'm saying? But I hope she here though. I hope they find her. But yeah, no, I ain't gonna lie. Nigga, 95 is a long ass time ago. That's what, 30 years? That shit OD. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, we know. Rest in peace. But monkeys and shit, they know how to coordinate war. So it's in our DNA to coordinate war and shit. But I wonder who the first nigga to do major war. You're going to hell? That was crazy. I can't. Mimi, I'm sorry. That's not my character. I apologize. When I start talking about something, I kind of get, I'm a one-track mind type of nigga. I'm sorry, bro. You know what? I did say some crazy shit. That's wow, that's actually fucked up. I'm thinking about it more and more like that. Wow. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. I'm fucked up, gang. I'm so sorry, bro. That was bad. I hope I didn't make you uncomfortable, bro. Dead ass. Rest in peace if she's passed. Hopefully she's not passed. I'm so sorry, dead ass. Yo, VV Fortune, bro. Appreciate you, man. Yo, I'm good. What the fuck is this star sign, gang? Is this a fucking Ariante? Nigga, what? I'm sorry.
Abu Dhabi. As the authorities were closing in on the 2 suspects, one of them took his life with a cyanide-laced cigarette, but the South Korean government was able to arrest the—
How do you lace a cigarette with cyanide? Niggas is wild.
The other agent responsible for the attack.
Oh,
during her interrogation, it was revealed that she had been training for that mission for 6 years. And that for 3 of them, she had been paired with Yaiko Taguchi, who had taught her how to speak and act like a Japanese woman so she could fly under the radar. As it was later revealed, Yaiko wasn't the only woman who had been kidnapped by the North Korean government. As of today, 17 Japanese citizens have been officially confirmed by the Japanese government as having been abducted by North Korea from 1977 to 1983.
Chat. Imagine for 6 years, right? Imagine living in Japan or living somewhere for 6 years where you have to be worried that you might get kidnapped from another country's government to work as a spy against your own country. Chat, that is insane. That they really swept her off the streets as she was going to work, and then she had to become a North Korean spy. Wow. That, I don't lie, chat. Bro, conspiracy theorists don't always be tweaking, gang. Conspiracy theorists are not always wrong, chat. Y'all got stop. You can't just say, oh, yes, conspiracy theory, they're dumb. No, nigga. Cause who gonna believe that, bro?
Disturbingly, a lot of
I'm
them were
shot the entire
shamelessly
video.
kidnapped.
Nigga, you wouldn't be shot if you heard, oh yeah, North Korea was kidnapping. Let's say, yo, North Korea was kidnapping U.S. citizens and making them work as government spies. That wouldn't be shocking to you, my nigga? That's a normal Tuesday for you, my nigga? Yo, Jamar, listen. You might be FBI agent watching my stream. Listen, FBI agents don't, you know what I'm saying? Look, bro, that might be a normal Tuesday for you, gang. You know, that might be normal to you.
In the middle of the day and thrown on a boat to North Korea. You might think that the victims were involved in something shady that put them on the North Korean government's radar, but the investigations actually suggest that most of them were average citizens who just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
That's scary.
One woman was captured while she was walking to a knitting class, and 2 others were kidnapped on a vacation to Europe.
That is
Another
literally
one,
crazy,
a 13-year-old
bro.
girl, was taken as she was walking back home from school. Some of these victims were kidnapped for identity theft purposes, while others, like Yaiko, were forcefully brought to North Korea to teach the Japanese language and culture to North Korean spies.
13?
After the kidnappings were confirmed beyond the shadow of a doubt, the North Korean government had no choice but to come forward and apologize. But they...
Yeah, bro, I'm sorry I kidnapped y'all citizens and made them spies and took their identities. I'm sorry I kidnapped that 13-year-old girl and took her identity. That's all they had to do was apologize. Please tell me they got some type of shit, bro. Please tell me they released the niggas. Please tell me if they were dead, then someone was sitting in prison, bro. Like, what are we talking about?
They claimed that only 5 of the 17 kidnapping victims were still alive. Over the next few years, the North Korean government would send what they would claim to be the cremated remains of some of the deceased victims back to Japan. However, as DNA testing would quickly reveal, pretty much all of the remains were fake, leading the Japanese government to believe that many more of the kidnapping victims were still alive. To this day, the North Korean government has stuck to its story, claiming that there were only 13 kidnapping victims and that the ones who were still alive were sent back safely to Japan.
What?
Shockingly, while the Japanese government has officially confirmed 17 kidnappings, the list of potential victims suggests that the true number could be as high as 800. Sadly, given the current political situation, it's unlikely we'll ever see the full extent of these abductions, or see the North Korean government held truly accountable for its horrific crimes.
You mean to tell me 800 niggas got kidnapped by a foreign government and they only produced 7 niggas back, or 5? And then they released fake... They released fake... Bro... Oh my God. They released fake ashes. Bro, what the fuck? Is that not insane to you niggas? Is that not crazy, chat? Like, is that not insane?
Just the other day, I found myself wasting hours of time I could have spent working on
Jamar, I know Canada made a gay ray. I don't know, bro. It was a wild time in the 50s, bro.
videos trying to find and cancel active subscriptions. That's why I've partnered with Rocket. Abuses committed by the CIA, FBI, and NSA. The majority of the reports include an accusation.
Yo, LeBron James! Oh my God, I made it! The kid from Akron follows me. Let's go! Let's fucking go! Oh man, let's fucking go, chat. We did it! Oh my God, we did it, bro. Oh.
Overt action abuses, which resulted in the release of 14 reports on major abuses committed by the CIA, FBI, and NSA. The majority of the reports included accusations of crimes such as opening and resealing US citizens' private mail for several years and illegally surveilling Black Power activists.
You see what I'm
Although
saying,
these
bro?
claims are obviously pretty serious, they paled in comparison to one particular accusation, or conspiracy theory, which alleged that the CIA had developed a pistol that could fire a poison dart over 300 feet, take a person's life, and leave absolutely no trace as to the cause of death. As it was later revealed, this theory turned out to be true, and the development of the poison dart gun was just one part of the program called MK Naomi, through which the CIA had sought to develop weapons for biological warfare. In 1975, William Colby, the CIA director at the time, had to testify in front of the committee that was investigating the agency. During questioning, he claimed that the CIA had developed a host of biological weapons as part of a plan to eliminate German leaders during World War II.
Bro, there is seriously people that went to school with you that ended up becoming CIA operatives or worked in some part of the government that have made weapons of mass destruction. Can you imagine little Johnny that was right next to you in class, signs, you know, you goofing off with that nigga, you know what I'm saying? That nigga doing homework, you teasing him and shit, and that nigga makes a poison dart gun that leaves no trace of cause of death? Gang. This shit crazy. Y'all be forgetting, like, these government niggas is regular citizens. They were regular citizens at one point. That's, wow. Yo, the human mind for destruction is one of one. One of one. That's low-key aura, though. Gang, that's aura, but it's like, damn, nigga, why did you have those thoughts? Like, why do you have those thoughts? You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna lie. Everyone has gone to school with at least one serial killer, one murderer type shit. You never know. Niggas be crazy.
But that their research had continued until well after the war.
So brainful.
He also mentioned that the poison dart gun was almost completely silent on account of the battery that was housed inside the handle, and that it had been specifically designed for the target to feel nothing more than a mosquito bite when the dart struck. Interestingly, the agency had used a specific shellfish toxin to make it impossible for anyone to know what the cause of death was, leading...
You mean to tell me, gang? Oh my, that's actually scary. That's actually terrifying. That's actually terrifying, chat. That's actually terrifying, chat. Yo, a mosquito. Oh my god. Yo, imagine feeling a mosquito bite and then you just die.
Forensic pathologists to believe that the victim had suffered an inexplicable heart attack. It wouldn't help
That's
pathologists
the real
that
life
the dart was
death note.
designed to melt inside the body so that it only left a small red mark where it entered the victim.
Oh
When
my
asked if the
fucking
heart attack
God.
gun, as it was nicknamed, was ever used on anyone, the director alleged that it had only been used for experiments and that there were no records of actual use. As part of the investigation, the CIA had to hand over the gun to the committee, and there are some pretty wild pictures of the committee members analyzing the gun as William Colby answers their questions about it.
That shit look
Normally,
like
you'd
a
expect
toy
to see
gun.
something like the heart attack gun in a spy
That
movie,
shit look like
and
a
it's pretty
toy
wild to
gun.
think that if they hadn't put it under investigation, they would have probably gotten away with using it for who knows what purposes. It's also pretty crazy to think that if that's the kind of stuff they were developing back in the 70s, imagine the kind of technology they have their hands on now. Disturbingly, the hearing was the only time the heart attack gun was ever shown.
There's 100% a unibeam. I don't know if y'all know what a unibeam is, but we definitely have a unibeam. Hold on, bro. Let me show y'all what a unibeam is, gang. Let me show y'all niggas what a unibeam is, chat. Y'all don't know what a unibeam is, but I'm gonna show y'all niggas what a unibeam is. This nigga, gang, we 1000% we have the capabilities to make a unibeam. Hold on, bro. Stop. There's a gun that can do this, for sure. For 1000% sure, my nigga. For shit show. We have a unibeam. We have my dick is a unibeam. Okay, bro, you got it, gang. Nigga said flight 2.0, but he's like a different. He likes a different super team. Nigga, the Celtics are not a super team. I don't know if you've seen Tatum's on-off numbers, nigga. The Celtics suck without that nigga, bro. We about to be a mid team next year. I got my silver arrow in archery and my gold bullet and riflery at 14-year-olds. Oh nah, she's a super spy. We got Black Widow in the chat. Yo, at least she a Kage though. Yo, we got Black Widow in the Kages. Let's go.
And to this day, it remains unclear what happened to it after the investigation.
They
Rogue
made
waves.
another one.
Sailors often get a reputation for making up stuff they claim to have seen during their time out at sea.
Yo, I ain't
And
playing for
because
real.
there's no
Appreciate
one
you
there
for the
to
follow.
refute
Thank you
their
very much. Thank you
claims,
very much.
They sometimes get away with some pretty tall tales. For centuries,
Rod
sailors
wave.
all around the world had talked about seeing monster waves on the open sea that would allegedly reach over 100 feet in
You
height.
said Rod wave.
In 1826, a French captain claimed that he had seen a 108-foot tall wave in the Indian
This
Ocean.
nigga's skull is huge.
Even though he had 3 sailors with him who backed up his claims, when he came back to the mainland, he was publicly ridiculed by the scientific community, as it was widely believed that it was impossible for a wave to be higher than 30 feet tall. For a long while after that,
Idiots.
dozens
That's
of people
dumb as hell.
continued to claim sightings of these monstrous waves in the middle of the ocean.
I got
But
big
with
fear
no real
word too.
evidence
My
other
cranium
than
not like
eyewitness
that.
testimonies, the existence of these waves fell into the urban legend or conspiracy theory category. In the 80s and early
right back,
90s,
all right, back.
the Draupner platform was set up in the North Sea off the coast of Norway to extract natural gas. As part of the protocol that was carried out to see if the platform was stable enough to withstand the rough seas, a wave height recorder was installed on the platform. On New Year's Day in 1995, the sensor recorded an 84-foot tall wave, which served as the first real piece
That
of
is
evidence for the existence of
crazy.
rogue waves. After this
Yo,
incident,
gang,
a
I
lot
ain't
of
gonna lie, yo, Zach, you a dirty ass nigga. You just said need to shower and you censored shower, nigga. That's wild. That's chat. That's wild. Nigga said need to shower and put a censor like he was saying some wild shit, my nigga. Yo, what the fuck? Nigga said thanks for censoring that word. Two dirty niggas over here agreeing with each other saying yes, bitch. Like, that's crazy as fuck, bro. I'm Indian. We are dirty. Yo, chill, Twitch. I do not condone that. I do not condone that. I do not condone that. That's wild as fuck. Yo, shout out my Indian niggas. You know, shout out my niggas like Bree Dev. You know what I'm saying? On some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out my niggas. Shout out my niggas at Wingstop. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of Indians at Wingstop in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them niggas be cooking up in that bitch. No cap. So shout out my Indians and shit.
People started wondering how many of the sailors from previous centuries had been telling the truth. What's more disturbing than that is that there were probably hundreds of disappeared sailors from all around the world who had come across a rogue wave, also known as a monster wave or a freak wave. But because most people who encountered 100-foot tall rogue waves generally didn't live to tell the tale, their testimony went down into the depths of the ocean with them.
Jesus Christ.
Since the Dropner wave of 1995,
I want y'all to know, chat, aliens are
waves brewing in the scientific community.
Aliens 1000% exist, and I ain't gonna lie. If I don't know what's lurking in the deep sea, we literally don't know what's in the ocean, like, because we can't go that far in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, we can create a camera that can withstand the water pressure, but like dead ass, this shit crazy.
Community. A few years ago, a professor at the Australian National University had estimated that at any given
now, we
moment
censor
there
those
are
words,
10
but
rogue
shower,
waves
like,
active
no.
in the world's oceans. As of today, a rogue wave is usually defined as a wave that is twice as large as the largest waves that come up in a particular area. And while the root cause of rogue waves continues to be investigated, it's generally accepted that these monster waves appear when two wave crests join together at the exact right time, resulting in a massive wave that can sink even the largest ships and oil.
That is crazy, bro.
Interestingly, it's also been discovered that rogue waves can take place in large lakes. In 1975, a freighter named the SS Edmund Fitzgerald sank in Lake Superior under some pretty mysterious circumstances, with a lot of people in the scientific community coming up with all kinds of hypotheses to explain the incident. It wasn't until several years later that the scientists started theorizing that the vessel could have fallen prey to a set of 3 consecutive killer rogue waves, a phenomenon referred to as the...
Imagine being, I've been saying imagine this and imagine that, but dead ass, my nigga, gang. The niggas that was on this boat seen 3 80-foot waves back to back to back. Yo, gang, it was just your time. How do I tell you? There was no way out of that one. 1, you survive. Okay, cool. 2, you're pushing it. 3, just kill me now. What? In GTA Twitch. But like, dead ass though. Like, nigga, are we dead ass, dude? 3 80-foot waves back to back to back. That's torture.
3 sisters, in which the first wave destabilizes the ship, the second wave hits the ship's deck before it can stabilize again, and the third wave overloads the ship with more water than it can take on. If this were true, it could also provide an explanation for the mysterious sinking of other large ships in oceans around the world over the past few centuries, but this might be a bit more difficult to prove.
Wow. Nah.
Poisonous alcohol.
That's tough.
In January 1920, the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was successfully ratified, triggering a 13-year period known as Prohibition, during which the production, sale, and transportation of alcohol was made illegal. During this period, the government enforced some pretty strict measures to prevent bootlegging of alcohol, which made the alcohol black market flourish like crazy. It was pretty much a playground for the mafia, in which the government would raid one bar and another one would crop up in just a few days' time. While all of this was happening, there were some pretty messed up rumors floating around that the US government was taking extreme measures to make sure people weren't consuming alcohol. These included allegations that the government was intentionally poisoning alcohol to make people who consumed it sick. For a while, this remained something of a conspiracy theory, but things took a turn pretty quickly on New Year's Day 1927 when 41 people died from alcohol poisoning at New York's
If I can fly with a parachute on my back and blow up a boat.
Disturbingly, the autopsies revealed that a lot of the victims had been...
Wait, I won't fly or get in a cruise and I have a boating license. If I can fly with a parachute on my back and blow up a boat. Gang, we literally have Black Widow in our chat, my nigga. That's crazy. So you're every ethnicity, you have 3 jobs, you have a license and a boating license.
Been drinking industrial methanol, otherwise known as wood alcohol, which can be fatal even at low doses.
That's crazy.
It turns out that the government had forced companies to denature industrial alcohol to make it undrinkable since 1906, which was far before Prohibition. But when the crackdown on alcohol started, the government ordered these companies to add quinine, methyl alcohol, and other toxic chemicals to discourage people from drinking it.
Wow, that's
the
insane,
reasoning
bro.
was that if black market dealers knew their alcohol had been poisoned, they wouldn't dare distribute it knowing how dangerous it would be for their customers to consume. I guess they forgot to factor in
But
that
you
the
hate
demand
driving?
for alcohol at
Driving
the time
cool,
was
bro.
absolutely insane, and that
know
black
what I'm saying?
market
It's calm,
dealers
bro. It's
didn't
calm.
care who lived or died from consuming their product. It wasn't until December 1933, 6 years after the Bellevue incident, that the federal government finally toned down their abstinence from alcohol policies.
Wow.
But by then, thousands of Americans had already been poisoned with contaminated alcohol.
Nigga said go get one.
Gorillas.
Yo, Sasuke, you're 1-on-1, gang.
Nowadays, there's really nothing too shocking about seeing a gorilla in a zoo or on TV, but there was once a time when gorillas were considered to be in the same category as the chupacabra, the Jersey Devil, Bigfoot, and the
What? Oh my god, it's me, my mom on TV. You're a fucking loser. Holy shit, you seen the gorilla? You said, oh my god, it's me? Dude, no, that's not the monkey we evolved from, nigga. Are we serious? You're wild as fuck. You're wild as fuck. But what, nigga? Niggas didn't know gorillas existed? I mean, shit. Before niggas knew shit existed, niggas didn't know it existed. So can we really say they're dumb? Come on, think about it, chat. Use your brain. Before we discovered things, things had to be discovered. So I can't be saying too much, but like, come on, bro. Like,
Loch Ness Monster. I was able to find that up until a couple of centuries ago, gorillas were considered cryptids, which are animals that are believed by some to exist somewhere in the wild, but whose existence has never been
Hogzilla,
proven.
donkey lady.
With most of these creatures,
What?
alleged sightings often turn out to be hoaxes, but obviously in the case of gorillas,
fuck is
what
that?
were once just rumors turned out to be true.
What type of...
Western Explorer, obviously in the case
What the fuck was
with
that?
most of these creatures, alleged sightings often turn out to be hoaxes. But
What the fuck is this?
in the case of gorillas, what were once just rumors turned out to be true. Western explorers wouldn't come across a gorilla
Yo,
until
why you
around the
dissing Emily CC
1500s,
gang?
when an English explorer named Andrew Battelle was captured by the Portuguese.
Alright, chill,
Jameer.
Jameer. Niggas knew how to run before
While
that.
he was held captive on the mainland, Battelle described these disturbing, giant, ape-like creatures that would occasionally
It's a
prowl
time
around his
traveler.
campfire, but because he had never seen a similar creature before, he described them more as monsters than as animals. Battelle's description sent the rest of the world into what we can only call a gorilla frenzy, with all kinds of rumors being spread about these allegedly bloodthirsty, dangerous creatures living in exotic parts of the
Gorillas
world.
are literally vegan
Over the next couple
too. That's
hundred
the crazy
years,
part.
the
They don't even
buzzword
like
gorillas
eat meat,
grew
bro.
as explorers in Africa sent back illustrations of gorillas to Europe, which were often given to royalty and emperors as rare gifts. If you were to ask any European back then what a gorilla was, they would have described it in a similar way to how we describe Bigfoot or the chupacabra nowadays. They were thought of more as mythical monsters than regular animals. It wasn't until
Europeans
over
are
200
cooked,
years or so later that an American naturalist
Europeans
named
are
Thomas
fried,
S.
bro.
Savage found a gorilla skull in 1847 during an expedition to Africa, which was the first piece of real proof for the existence of these animals. Naturally, this triggered a bunch of new expeditions to the area, and between 1855 and 1859, French explorer Paul Duchaillu confirmed the existence of
That's
gorillas
his
and
name?
even brought
Paul
some back
Duchaillu?
in. Just as Andrew Battelle before him, Paul Duchaillu also described gorillas as these savage, bloodthirsty creatures which stuck in the public mind for a
That
long
shit
time.
crazy, bro.
Around 15 years later, some German explorers brought back a baby gorilla from Africa to Liverpool, even putting up some towels on the ship so he could
kidnapped
swing
my nigga,
around
bro.
and entertain himself on the long journey back.
They kidnapped my nigga,
As
bro.
you can probably imagine, as soon as the ship arrived back in Liverpool, people started flocking around the hotel where the gorilla was allegedly being kept to catch a glimpse of the once mythical creature. To the public's dismay,
Are you promoting scams in my chat, nigga? What's wrong with you, bro? Why are you, like, niggas talking about Chase, Bank of America, don't miss out, nigga? Yo, gang. You wildin', nigga. You trying to take niggas last paycheck, bro. You a shady nigga. So are they saying gorillas are man-made too? Nah, I guess they just thought they were like, you know, mythical on some shit. You feel me?
Pongo the gorilla wasn't the massive, violent monster they had thought, but rather
course
a
he wasn't.
cute little 2-year-old gorilla who loved to play with dogs. A few years later, in 1902, a German explorer named Robert von Beringe killed 2 mountain gorillas, which were huge in comparison to the baby gorilla that the previous German explorers
That's
had brought
crazy,
back.
bro.
And that was really the first time the public was
Gorillas-
able to
gorillas
understand
just be
what a
chilling, bro.
full-sized adult gorilla looked like.
They just
It's
be
pretty
chilling,
crazy
bro.
to think that at some point these animals that we now see as normal were once seen as legendary monsters. Interestingly,
of
if you
course
really
they
look
were,
at the
bro.
research, there are a ton of other animals that we now take for granted that were once brushed off as hoaxes, including kangaroos, platypuses, giant squids, and Komodo dragons.
Now look,
Off as hoaxes, including kangaroos,
check.
platypuses.
A platypus actually doesn't make sense. These niggas are venomous. They're the only venomous mammal. They can't really breathe on land, but they're a mammal. They're weird, bro.
Giant squids.
They lactate, but they don't have any type of, you know what I'm saying? But they still lactate and produce milk. It makes no sense. Yo, LA Cat, appreciate it with the follow, bro. The fact that people doubt we can kill gorillas shows how hard we're going down as a society. Yo, gang, I ain't gonna lie, bro. 100 men versus one gorilla, bro. We're literally cooking them niggas. Yo, shout out Platty, man. Dead ass. We're cooking the gorillas, bro. W video though. I like this video.